Hello, everybody. This is Tucker Miller here again. And tonight, like I said, for my next movie review, I'm gonna be reviewing on Chicken Little. Came out in 2005. But, anyways, let's get to the plot. So, anyways, the plot of this movie is we got this chicken named, well, of course, Chicken Little, who believes that a piece of the sky is falling, but it turns out it was just an. So he warns the town, and but what, and it turns out is just an acorn that just hit him in the head. So yeah, and then everyone hates him. Everyone was bullying him, and he's basically like a disgrace to his own town, and even his dad, Buck Cluck, doesn't even believe him at all either, which, ugh. We'll get to that character when we talk more about the characters. And yeah, he gets like bullied at school, and Chicken Widow decided he wants to do something to impress everyone. So he decided to try out for baseball, and that worked, and everyone supported him, including his father, and yeah, and yep, and then that night, a piece of the sky actually fall, and is actually a alien invasion, and got a group of like aliens, and this baby alien named Kirby got left behind. So yeah, and then every and he get Chicken Little gets his friends Abby Mauer, aka Abby Duckwing, voiced by Joan Cusack, and Want of the Witter, Fish Out of Water, and yeah, so they can, and yeah, and he tries to win his town again, but again, everyone still does not believe him, and about the whole sky falling, and yeah, so it's up to Chicken Widow. So yeah, it is up to Chicken Widow to prove that the sky is actually falling, and return the baby alien to his rightful home, and that's basically what the plot is. Now, what could I say about Chicken Little? Honestly, guys, to be honest with you guys, I don't hate this movie as much as a lot of people do. Sure, it may not be one of my favorite Disney movies. Sure, it may be my least favorite Disney movie, but I don't necessarily like hate it or anything. It's just probably the weakest of all the Disney animated films. But yeah, I don't really hate this film. I don't really necessarily hate any Disney animated movie. I don't necessarily hate any Disney animated movie, if I'm being honest. Like, you know, I don't necessarily hate any Pixar movies. So yeah, I don't necessarily hate any Disney animated movie from the Disney Animation Studios, canon. But yeah. Yeah, I can see why many people do not like this movie, because this movie is pretty mean-spirited. I can agree, it is kind of mean-spirited, but I honestly don't hate it. It's not that I necessarily don't like it. It's just, yeah, not one of my, probably my least favorite Disney movie of all time. Well, animation-wise. But Yeah. But, yeah. Again, don't hate the movie, but just not one of my favorites. But I did find a bit of enjoyment from this movie. But, yeah. But anyways, Chicken Widow has a pretty decent well, in my honest opinion, we all know everyone has their own opinions, but the story was alright, I guess. And characters are pretty decent. And this movie has pretty decent characters, and just, yeah. But yeah. The story is okay, I guess. Again, is pretty mean-spirited, but yeah, the story is kind of ridiculous, and the characters are pretty decent, and the animation is also, animation is actually pretty good, if you ask me. The animation is actually pretty good, but yeah. Yeah, but anyways, let's talk about the characters, shall we? Chicken Little? I have to say, Chicken Little, he's a pretty great character. Well, maybe not great character, but he's actually a pretty good character, I should say. He's a pretty good character. And you definitely should feel bad for Chicken Little because how everyone treated him. Yeah. Yeah, Chicken Little, he's a pretty good character. And of course, we got his father, Buck Cluck, which, ugh. Buck Cluck, easily, I'm gonna say this, Buck Cluck, he is a terrible and awful father. Like, he doesn't even believe his own son. He never stood up to him. And when Chicken Little wants to try out for the baseball game, he said, quote unquote, don't get your hopes up too high. And he only stood up for his son, he only supports his son when he wins the baseball game, which, really? God, Buck Cluck, Chicken Little's father, he's just a bad dad. He is really an awful father. I can agree with you guys. Buck Cluck, he is a terrible father. But, and probably the worst cartoon dad out of all of the cartoon dads. Yeah, he's probably the worst cartoon dad. And probably the worst Disney father or Disney parent. But yeah. Like, Mufasa from The Lion King is a way better Disney father. And of course, so is Pongo from 101 Dalmatians. He's also a way better Disney father. And of course, some Pixar characters who are fathers, like Marlin from Finding Nemo. He's a way better father. And of course, Mr. Incredible. Mr. Incredible is another way better father. And Bandit from Bluey. Bandit is another way better father. Bandit is another way better father than Buck Cluck. You know, Bandit from the show Bluey. But, yeah. Bandit, he is a way better cartoon father, too. And Hank Hill from King of the Hill, is another great father and way better than Buck Cluck. All these fathers that I mentioned, are so many times better than Buckquack. Like, yeah, Buckquack, easily the worst character of the movie, and probably the worst Disney character in my book. Which, ugh. So yeah, I absolutely hate that character. But, anyways, let's get to some more characters that I think are actually pretty decent now. Now, Abby Mauer, aka Ugly Duckling. Abby Mauer, she is a pretty decent character, I should say. And I will definitely and I will definitely have to say Joan Cusack did a great job voicing Abby Mauer, or Ugly Duckling. Whatever you want to call her. But yeah. Abby Mauer is a pretty decent character. And her voice actress, again, Joan Cusack, did a pretty decent job, actually. And we all know, yeah, we all know Joan Cusack voiced another Disney character. Well, a Disney and Pixar character, I should say. She's a character from Pixar, and you all know who I'm talking about. She voiced Jessie in Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4. Yeah, Jessie the yodeling cowgirl from the Toy Story movies. But yeah, that's what I really known her as. That's what I really known Joan Cusack as Jessie from Toy Story. But out of those two characters, between Abby Mauer and Jessie from Toy Story, her best performance will definitely have to go to Jessie. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Jessie from Toy Story, and oh yeah, speaking of Toy Story, we all know this June we're gonna get Toy Story 5, and Jessie is gonna be the main character. Is gonna be the main character for Toy Story 5 instead of like Woody and yeah. But yeah, and Joan Cusack will be returning, reprising her role for Toy Story 5, of course, as Jessie. So yeah, but anyways, we're getting off topic. So yeah, so I definitely have to say, Joan Cusack did a decent job voicing Abby Mauer, or Ugly Duckling, but her role as Abby Mauer wasn't as good as Jessie from Toy Story. So yeah, from the Toy Story movies. Well, I should say the Toy Story sequels, because Jessie was not in the first movie. She was introduced in Toy Story 2. But yeah. But anyways, yeah, so that's Abby Mauer's a pretty decent character. Fish Out of Water, I will say he's a pretty decent character as well. And Want of the Witter, he's a very funny character. He is so hilarious. To like this scene when he was in Dodgeball, the Dodgeball scene. That scene when he keeps getting hit with a bunch of balls, and that scene was so hilarious. And the scene where he was trying to get something out of the soda machine, and the dollar bill wouldn't go through, and he starts shaking it and breaking it. That scene was so. Want of the Witter is so funny. Yeah, Want of the Witter might easily be the best character from this entire movie. if I have if I had to pick. But yeah. And Foxy Woxy, she's an alright character. I mean, she's a bit of a bully to Chicken Widow. So is Goosey Woosey, and yeah. And the the mayor Tookie Wookie, if I'm saying his name, the mayor the Tookie mayor, the mayor, he was another funny character, and I'll definitely have to say, and the mayor in this movie, who was the Tookie, the mayor is voiced by the late Don Marks. Rest in peace. Yeah, and I'll definitely have to say Don Marks did a pretty decent job as the mayor for this movie. And Chicken Widow was Don Marks' last movie that he was in. Yeah, that was Don Marks' last, well, before he passed away 1 year after the movie came out. And, the movie came out in 2005, and the movie itself came out in 2005, and sadly, Don Marks would passed away in 2006. May he rest in peace. But yeah. So yeah, Don Marks was a great actor. But yeah. Yeah, now let's talk about now the aliens. Kirby. I'll have to say Kirby, he's kind of a cute character. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Kirby was cute. And his parents, Marvin, if I'm not mistaken, and Tina, I believe, the mom, Kirby's mother, Tina. Yeah, it's gotta be Tina. But yeah, and yeah, they're pretty decent characters. And another thing I want to say, I have to say, for Tina, I would definitely have to say Catherine O'Hara, the wait Catherine O'Hara did a pretty decent job voicing her. But yeah. Yeah, and the one thing I want to say, rest in peace to Catherine O'Hara, which we all know she sadly passed away at the end of January, which is sad because I really liked Catherine O'Hara. I thought she was a great actress. She was in so many great films, like she was in Home Alone and Beetlejuice. And a bunch of other movies and shows. Yeah. And it's so sad too, because my mom really loved Catherine O'Hara. My mom was a huge Catherine O'Hara fan. And yeah. So yeah, rest in peace. May Catherine O'Hara rest in peace. She was a great actress. And Tina from Chicken Widow wasn't the only Disney character that Catherine O'Hara voiced. She would voice Wade's mother, Wade's mom, in the 2023 Pixar film Elemental. And of course, we cannot forget she was the voice for Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas, which, yeah. And she's been in she did some voices for other animated movies too. But, yeah. Rest in peace to Catherine O'Hara. She was a great actress. Probably, this may not be her best Chicken Little may not be her best role, but she did a pretty decent job. So yeah. So anyways, but honestly, those are the characters I could think up on top of my head at the moment. But yeah. Yeah. But again, and the song and the end credits, it's right after the movie has ended, at the end credits, when the characters were singing "Don't Go Breaking My Heart." I'm not gonna lie, that song is actually pretty catchy. I really like that song, "Don't Go Breaking My Heart." Which, yeah. Yeah, so... Yeah, so anyways, Chicken Little. Not bad, not a bad movie. I don't hate it. I thought... I don't hate it. But definitely the weakest of all the Disney animated films. So, yeah. But, again, not a bad movie. I don't hate it, but definitely the weakest. Definitely the worst. The worst. But, yeah. But, anyways. That's all I can say about Chicken Little. But anyways, I'm gonna give Chicken Little a 5 out of 10. This film does have its flaws, unfortunately, but it is what it is. But if you guys don't like this movie, that is perfectly fine. I can handle your opinion. So, yeah. But anyways, that is it for my movie review on Chicken Little. And stay tuned for my next movie review, which will be on Meet the Robinsons. But until then, see you in the next video. Bye.